If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
The market's uncertain, revenue's tight, and hiring on hold. That's why results-driven companies are using Upwork to keep work moving. Go to Upwork.com today and start hiring proven freelance talent fast. No bulky overhead. No rigid long-term contracts. Just the right expert right when you need them. Work smarter and faster with Upwork. Go to Upwork.com now and find your freelance expert. That's UPWORK.com. Post a job for free and get started today.
Hey, it's Maya and Sim from the Girls That Invest podcast. If you are an IT or security pro, you know managing devices, identities, and applications can feel overwhelming and honestly risky. That's where Trellica by 1Password comes in. It helps conquer SaaS sprawl and shadow IT by discovering every app your team uses, managed or not. With pre-built app profiles, you can assess risk, manage access, and even optimize your software spend. Plus, it simplifies onboarding, offboarding, and compliance, all while cutting costs by eliminating unused licenses. Take the first step to better security for your team. Learn more at onepassword.com/special offer.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
This is the Daily Tech News for Friday, September 26th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on the context of those stories, and help each other understand.
Today, should you eat Teflon? Before you answer, let Dr. Niki tell you about one of the winners of the Ig Nobel Prize. And the Xbox handheld is here, and it is expensive.
I'm John Merritt.
I'm Jen Cutter.
Let's get right into that big story. A handheld Xbox is now available for you to buy. Yay! The ROG Xbox Ally is up for pre-order for $599. You can get the Xbox Ally X for $999. Both ship on October 16th. And Jen, for you, that's $799 and $1,299 Canadian.
I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, those are so much bigger. Weirdly, Australian, it's $799, but then like $14.99 for the Ally X. Anyway, Asus makes the hardware. Microsoft provides a customized version of Windows that is optimized for running games. So things like File Explorer that really aren't as important. They're there, but they're minimized. Both models have a 7-inch HD display with a 120 hertz refresh rate. The more expensive one, the Ally X, has more RAM, more storage, and a bigger battery. The handheld plays PC versions of the games, but you use a console-style controller. And to that end, Microsoft has now launched the Handheld Compatibility Program, which will apply to future handhelds because they plan to have more than just this model. But for now, it means that games have been tested, optimized, and verified to play well with those Xbox-style handhelds on the ROG Ally and Ally X. That makes it easy to see which of these games are customized to work well. So games with a handheld optimized badge in the store are ready to go. If they say mostly compatible, that means you might have to change a few in-game settings to make it work, but then it should work well. There's also a Windows Performance Fit indicator of should play great or should play well. I'm guessing great is better than well. But honestly, what most people are talking about is that $600 to $1,000 price. Asus's comparable non-Xbox ROG Ally systems are priced from $500 to $800. And of course, the Switch 2 is $449. So Jen, tell me why this Xbox handheld is worth the money.
I was surprised at the outcry about the price because I bought a Switch 2 as a kind of impulse thing, and that ended up costing me slightly north of $1,000 because I bought the Pro controller because I find it really heavy to hold the standard handheld, and the 2 games and stuff, which I consider a necessary part of buying a system is you also need the games. So to me, for this, my brain kind of goes to it as a Steam Deck equivalent, like the same way where they have like, oh, is a Steam Deck verified or not? It's like, is $1,000 too much for your new best friend? Because this thing would live
you can't put
with
a price
me.
on friendship.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
And then for people who are already paying for Game Pass, you don't have to worry about that. You're set. You're good to go. You have everything you need in a computer that is portable and is going to get updates for a long while in the future. So like you are protected on that.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point that comparing this to the Switch 2 is a little bit apples and those Asian pears. Like, you know, maybe they taste slightly
Asian
similar,
pears, you know.
but they're not exactly the same.
But they are more expensive.
Yes, exactly. And one of them is much more expensive. But you're getting, I hadn't even thought about the fact that, yeah, you're getting the better controller included here. And if you're a Game Pass player, you're getting your games. In fact, most people who are going to buy this probably have some games that they own that they can bring over to this, even if they're not Game Pass subscribers. So that figures into the price. That makes Steam a better comparison. And the Steam Deck is still a little cheaper, though.
Yes, it is a little cheaper. There are a couple more options for the Steam Deck. It's more moddable and stuff. At this point, when more people have their hands on the system, we'll see what hackers and all that stuff do with it, because you do have the Windows Core, whereas on Steam Deck you have the Linux-based one. So these things can go in very different directions in the future. And I do know people who use the Steam Deck for work. They do work on it.
Well, you can put Windows on it, right?
Exactly. It's
and also run things in Linux, of course. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you've got all these options. So that's why, to me, I did not find this price a shocker.
I am not shocked, but I'm surprised. If you would have asked me this morning when I saw this headline for the first time, I would have been like, "Ooh, Jen's probably going to think this is a little pricey," because you are not someone who willy-nilly spends money. You're very responsible.
Yeah, except for like the impulse Switch 2 purchase. But yes, generally, I try to be responsible.
I say you consider things.
I do. I'm pretty slow to do things. I've needed new monitors for ages, but I am waiting for the right deal because I want to buy a future-proof thing. Like, yeah, there's cheap monitors that are 1920 by 1080, but why would I pay for those right now? That does not have a future, whereas I think this device has a future.
I think that's a very good point. And we're not trying to minimize the fact that it's expensive. And if you don't have the money,
gaming is expensive these days. It is why retro is, I think, bigger than it would be otherwise, because those games are accessible. They're easy to find. You can buy used things. I don't think I'm the only one who has a CRT hanging around if you really wanted to go old school.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, writing this up today made me kind of want to get one.
I know. It's like if I didn't buy a Switch 2, I would be rather seriously looking at this, because I'm going to be traveling a bit more for hockey this year. And like, that is why I got super into Game Boys and PSPs. I skipped the Vita, apologizing to Vita fans. But I played the living heck out of those systems. And like, even as an adult, I would spend a lot of time with this, the same way I spend a ton of time with the Switch and will in the future spend a ton of time with the Switch too.
I play fewer games because I want to play them when I'm sitting on the couch and we have something else on the TV.
Yes. Which for me is like baseball. And I don't enjoy hockey intermissions, so I get a lot of gaming done during hockey intermissions.
You got 20 minutes.
I don't need their hot takes. I've got my own hot takes.
Yeah, exactly. That's fantastic. So hockey and baseball fans, here's your handheld. Congratulations.
DTNS is made possible by you, the listener. Thanks to Johnny Hernandez, High Tech Okie, Chris Zaragoza, and Allison Sheridan.
Yay, Allison!
Hi, this is Paige DeSorbo, and today I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile. So you're thinking about upgrading to the amazing new iPhone 17 Pro, the most powerful iPhone yet with 8 times optical zoom, but Are you also thinking about the traffic on your way to the store or transferring all your data? Well, good news. When you order a new iPhone online with Boost Mobile, they'll send an expert to your home or work to deliver your brand new iPhone 17 Pro and get you all set up on Boost Mobile within minutes. No hassle. Visit boostmobile.com to get started. Delivery available for select devices purchased at boostmobile.com. Terms apply.
You open the fridge. There's nothing there. So what's it going to be? Greasy pizza? Sad drive-thru burgers? Dish by Blue Apron is for nights like that. These are the pre-made meals of your dreams. At least 20 grams of protein, no artificial flavors or colors, no chopping, no cleanup, no guilt. Keep the flavor. Ditch the subscription. Get 20% off your first 2 orders with code APRON20. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
With comprehensive reports on local schools you won't find anywhere else, Homes.com is the only place to find the in-depth info home shoppers want. Very in-depth info. Curious about where a school ranks in the state? Look no further. Percentage of teachers in their first or second year? We've got it. Lowest student-teacher ratio? No problem. The best cafeteria lunch in the district for your 9-year-old food blogger? Would it surprise you if we said yes? Homes.com. We've done your homework.
You know what's wild? Most people are still overpaying for car insurance just because it's a pain to switch. That's why there's Jerry. Jerry's the only app that compares rates from over 50 insurers in minutes and helps you switch fast with no spam calls or hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Before you renew your car insurance policy, do yourself a favor. Download the Jerry app or head to jerry.ai/ACAST.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
All right, there's more we need to know today. Let's get to the briefs.
So, hey, remember that app Neon we talked about on Thursday? The one that paid you to record your phone calls and share them with Neon. Well, later Thursday, TechCrunch discovered by analyzing network traffic using a tool called Burb Suite that it could get an unprotected link to the audio files it had sent to Neon. TechCrunch says it could also get the servers to give it access to other users' recorded audio as well as metadata, including phone numbers and more. After TechCrunch alerted Neon that this was possible, the company's founder sent an email to customers alerting them of a temporary takedown to add extra layers of security.
I don't know the details here. TechCrunch was very responsible in how they disclosed it, so it's hard to tell. But I'm guessing it might be as simple as URL hacking.
Yeah.
That they were able to sniff the network traffic to get the URLs of their own stuff and then go, well, what if we just change this directory? What if we change this, iterate on this number a few times? And that Neon is caught with like, ooh, we didn't think anyone would look, or we didn't think about that at all.
Yeah. Or it's like, we thought that was covered and clearly it did not get covered.
Yeah.
Somebody checked it off and wasn't correct.
This is a small startup without a whole lot of people that got real popular real fast. And that is the kind of thing that gets exposed when your small startup gets really popular really fast. It could be negligence. It could just be that it was overlooked and they have a small staff. I'm not trying to forgive them for it. Trust me. But I also don't know that it was malicious. Like, we, move fast to break things and screw the user kind of attitude either. It's probably just was something that got overlooked.
Yeah. Yep.
But it needs to be looked at. That's what I will.
Same
I will
thing with like
that.
the security cameras where it's like, oh, but you can also look at anyone else's door.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, you guys need to get on that.
When you're dealing with something as privacy sensitive as let's record your phone calls and sell them to companies, I need to not be able to get your phone calls by doing a URL hack or sniffing traffic. All right, another big follow-up here. Thursday, the President of the United States signed an executive order that declares that a forthcoming framework of a deal, so that's a lot of ifs, for ByteDance to divest the U.S. operations of TikTok will meet the criteria of the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. That's the one that requires ByteDance to have already divested itself of TikTok. The executive order says a new ownership group will take over. ByteDance will retain less than 20%. Software updates will be monitored by the U.S. entity, which implies that ByteDance continues to do the software updates, by the way. And the algorithm will be under the control of the new venture and retrained on U.S. user data, as we reported before. That's actually in the order that they'll retrain it. The order applies to all ByteDance apps. They name CapCut and Lemonade specifically, but says the other ones as well. The order directs the Attorney General not to take any enforcement action for 120 days, which would be January 23rd, 2026, in order to give the deal time to complete. There were no other details about the actual sale in the executive order, but we have lots of reporting and even some comments outside of the EO. Vice President J.D. Vance, for example, says the deal values the U.S. TikTok business at $14 billion, quite a bit lower than others expected, which was in the 30 to 35 billion range. So it's a bargain. ByteDance as a whole is valued at $330 billion. Bloomberg reports that ByteDance will receive a fee based on all revenue generated from using its algorithm. That could end up giving ByteDance 50% of overall profit, which could explain why the valuation is so small. CNBC sources say that Oracle, as expected, Silver Lake, as expected, and the Abu Dhabi-based MGX Investment Fund, which is a new one to me, a new one in this conversation to me, will be the main investors and hold about 45%, so less than 50%. Nobody will have a 50% control of this. ByteDance's non-Chinese investors, like Susquehanna and some others, will get 35%, and that's where maybe your Michael Dells or your Rupert Murdochs might show up in that 35%. And ByteDance itself will get 19.9%, so just less than 20%. Oracle will continue to host and oversee security of U.S. TikTok data as it does now. That's not a big surprise. And Last Post reporting that ByteDance will create a new U.S. company responsible for e-commerce, brand advertising, and managing ties with TikTok's international operations. That says this thing is going to work like TikTok does everywhere else in the world. It's just going to have a back end that's operated by this TikTok U.S. company. The big one here, though, is that China hasn't said anything except like, well, we're very interested in complying with Chinese laws on a deal. The president of the United States says that Xi Jinping, the president of China, has signed off on this, but China hasn't said that yet.
Yeah, well, that's the big thing we're all waiting for. But with what Last Post said, that to me is like, oh, that's the bridge for creators. If they get to keep their existing things, if they don't have to change anything, if they're already in the programs they need to be in to make money, this
Partner
definitely
managers might stay the same, all of that. Yeah,
this would definitely make the transition easier for them and keep them on the platform.
That's a great point. Yeah. It feels like they're going to try to make this as seamless as possible if you're not paying attention, which everyone is paying attention. But even then, they want it to go smoothly.
Yeah, I'm also curious about the retraining because, like, on that one day where Americans were not on the app, Canadians suddenly saw a flood of of Europeans and Australians, like just tons of Australians on the app. So I'm thinking, like, okay, is it going to like really push Americans to see other Americans, or is it like what is the specific retraining? Which again, we can only see.
It will still get international content, but the preferences of the algorithm will be based on U.S. preferences. So it's going to change something. It'll be really interesting to see what changes.
Mm-hmm. And we will, of course, be on top of that as more develops. At Qualcomm's Snapdragon Summit, Saudi Arabian company Humane showed off its Horizon Pro PC running on a Snapdragon X Elite chip. It runs on a custom operating system called Humane One, which focuses all interactions on a generative agent rather than apps. The interface gives you options like chat, generate image, knowledge retrieval, and doc summarizer. Humane plans to sell the machine on a subscription basis with models for students, consumers, and enterprise. And when I was looking at this thing, it kind of felt like I was using a shop kiosk where it's like, well, here are your 6 options. What do you want?
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I don't know if this will catch on, but it is an experiment I'm glad someone is doing. I will forgive them spelling humane MAIN for having an interesting idea, where it's like, what if the agent is your entry? And I like it that someone's experimenting with a new interface, whether this works or not. Let's try different ways of interacting than the good old fashioned apps and folders. Maybe apps and folders is the best we got right now, but we don't know unless we try different things.
Yeah, no, the problem is like I'm old school. I know what a save button actually represents. But these kids these days, they might really be into this.
Thanks to RW for tipping us off to this one in the DTNS subreddit. The UK government announced its intention to create a digital ID that would be mandatory if you want to work in the UK. It would be meant to be stored on a phone, although the government intends to make sure it can work for those who cannot use a smartphone. There will be no requirement to carry it with you. It is expected to only include name, birth date, nationality, residency status, and your photo. The UK government will launch a consultation about the digital ID later this year and expects it will be mandatory at the latest by the end of 2029. The EU is planning to introduce a similar digital identity wallet next year.
Yeah, well, the EU has been planning it and pushing it back for a while.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot said today that is the devil in the details kind of thing that's going to make this a little harder to implement than perhaps Prime Minister Stormer implied.
Meta plans to offer a paid version of Facebook and Instagram in the UK, which will not contain ads. It will cost £2.99 a month on the web or $3.99 for iOS or Android apps. Meta also released a new feed of generated videos in the Meta AI app called Vibes. It's like Reels, but generated.
Hey, when you don't have European laws that require you not to track people, it's easier to put this in place, isn't it?
Yeah, part of me thinks, is this just kind of the equivalent to YouTube Premium, which tons of people pay for to just get what they want with no bother around it?
No, exactly. And the trick in the EU is that the consumer groups are saying, no, the law says you can't track us, not that you can offer to make us pay. And the judges have said, I think you're okay to make people pay, but you got to charge less. And maybe you also have to give them an option that tracks them less for free. Whereas in the UK, they don't have that law to deal with it. So it is exactly like YouTube Premium there. You can also now order the Raspberry Pi 500 Plus. The Plus is the new part of the name. It's an improved version of the Raspberry Pi inside a keyboard, just like the 500. Has 16 gigabytes of RAM, though, instead of the 8. Has a 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD instead of micro SD storage. Also has a fancier keyboard with mechanical switches. If you must know, it is a low-profile, clicky Gateron Blue KS33 switch. Has replaceable keycaps, individually programmable RGB LEDs, and it's twice the price of the Pi 500. It's $200.
I talked to my friends who love the Raspberry Pi, and they're stoked. They love the switch to an SSD instead of the micro SD because, let's face it, it's a little tricky to get reliable micro SD these days unless you're shopping at specific places. But for me, it's a low profile keyboard. I can't do low profile. And if I ever find the person who stole my IBM Model M, they better flee the country. That's the kind of profile I like. So people who tried to put the higher profile buttons on this found that they bottomed out. So just be aware of that if you're picky like me.
Yeah, and if you took Jen's keyboard, you better keep a low profile.
Keep running.
All right, finally, a few quick headlines that are just good to know if you want to understand the news in the future.
The U.S. Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, aka CISA, issued an emergency directive ordering federal agencies to secure Cisco firewall devices against 2 zero-day attacks.
Google DeepMind released Gemini Robotics 1.5, which can use Google Search to help carry out complex tasks and learn from the world around them, including from other robots.
OpenAI released a benchmark called GDP-Val, which attempts to compare models to human professionals in various industries and found Anthropic's Cloud Open 5.1 model ranked highest.
Yeah, they ranked the competition, so maybe it is a useful benchmark. Speaking of Anthropic, their CEO previously said AI might wipe out 25% of jobs, but Anthropic just announced that it's going to triple its international workforce this year.
Interesting. In a direct challenge to Google, Perplexity launched a search API that gives developers direct real-time access to its web index.
Microsoft released the final non-security update for Windows 10 version 22H2 into preview. This one's for free last time.
I'm so sad. It's like the last time I'm going to hit update and not pay for it. And in important gaming news, Bowser will go down on December 31st. That is, Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser will retire then, and 20-year veteran Devin Pritchard will take over. And so you've got till the end of the year to make all of your Bowser jokes. Keep them coming, folks. I love going through my feed and seeing them.
Those are the essentials for today. Let's dive a little deeper.
The Ig Nobel Prizes were awarded September 19th. These are always fun, of course, and Dr. Niki joins us to explain what they are, why you should care, and whether you should eat Teflon.
Dr. Niki, thank you for coming back.
Happy to be here and talk about my favorite Nobel Prizes, the Ig Nobel Prizes.
The most wonderful time of the year. For those who are uninitiated, I know many people already do know, but for those who don't, what are the Ig Nobel Prizes?
So these are considered the kind of quirky, fun cousin of the Nobel Prizes. Their tagline is that it's research that makes people laugh and then think.
Yes. So they're sort of making fun of studies, but these are real studies, right? Yeah. And sometimes, even though they're funny sounding, they have valuable research.
Yeah, and actual Nobel Prize winners do present the award.
Fantastic.
They're in on the joke. But yeah, it's real research for sure.
Yeah. These are all real research. They're just interesting and thought-provoking and good for a laugh. What caught your eye of the prize winners this year?
So we'll go into some depth about the more tech ones, but some of the less techy prizes went to studies like recording your fingernail growth for 35 years. This was a posthumous prize. Studying why certain kinds of lizards prefer certain kinds of pizza at a beach resort. And if you paint cows to look like zebras, do they get less fly bites?
Well, now I want to know what pizza the lizards like so I can order the one they don't.
Well, you'll have to dive into the ceremony.
Do you know? Do you remember if the cows painted to look like zebras were bit less?
Yeah, so it's actually building on a previous Ig Nobel Prize where they had investigated that, and the stripes do seem to help avoid flies, which may be why zebras are striped, amongst other things, which is like predator confusion. I think
Gotcha. All right, let's talk about some of the more techie ones. What do we got?
So the chemistry prize was awarded for experiments to test whether eating Teflon, which is also known as polyterafluoroethylene.
That's what I always call it, just to be accurate.
A form of plastic. Whether this is a good way to increase your food volume and therefore your satiety without increasing calorie content. Basically making like diet food.
Wow. Okay. So when I think of Teflon, I either think of Ronald Reagan, the Teflon president, or I think of Teflon coated pans and how everyone says you shouldn't use them because the Teflon will come off into your food. But this was studying whether that's a good thing.
So yes, it is the same Teflon as in Teflon coated pans. I believe that the coming off part is not actually the Teflon, but the sticky part underneath
the adhesive.
It, which is carcinogenic. Sure. So apparently, the authors wanted to test if Teflon was bad for you. And they fed rats a diet that was 25% Teflon for 90 days. And the rats showed no sign of getting any toxicity from the Teflon, and they lost weight.
Well, because it's filling you up without giving you calories.
It's just a filler.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
So the point is that Teflon is what they're able to, what they're very sure of in this publication. They're trying to like defend Teflon, which I find kind of funny, but it's inert, it's body safe, it's resistant to stomach acid, it doesn't have taste, you can powder it, and it's cheap. So they're basically trying to convince the readers that we have, like the first line of the paper is, we have 0-calorie drinks. What about 0-calorie food? If you like increase the volume of your food in your stomach and stretch your stomach, but the extra volume is inert plastic, then yay. That's
good luck in this current world convincing a bunch of people to eat plastic.
Diet culture is a thing.
Never underestimate the power of a well-marketed diet. That's a very good point. I mean, if I would like to see it replicated,
Yeah,
you know.
and humans also, and not just mice.
And then maybe a small clinical trial on some humans before I start down in a bunch of Teflon. But
yeah.
I could see where this might end up being counterintuitively a good thing. Now, I don't know how a steak is going to taste if it's mostly Teflon.
It's tasteless. It's just powdered Teflon on top.
But that's the thing, right? It
stomach.
won't taste like a steak. It'll taste like nothing.
Well, if you basically the point is if you have 10% steak and 90% Teflon as your total meal, then it tastes like steak and you're really, really full.
Really? It still tastes like steak? Well, I feel like if it's 90% Teflon, it would be 90% less tasty.
It's not like a Teflon steak smoothie. Well, actually, I don't know. I guess we'd have to think of maybe like chicken noodle soup. And it's lightly flavored chicken noodle soup,
and the
where most of the
noodles
volume
could be
is
mostly
filler.
Teflon, and you
go.
might not notice. Okay, no.
Am I convincing you to follow the Teflon diet?
I don't know if you convinced me yet. I still would like a few more clinical trials before I jump in. But yeah, I could see where that one might work. All right, what about the prize for engineering?
Yes, the Engineering Design Prize was awarded for analyzing, from an engineering design perspective, how stinky shoes affect the good experience of using a shoe rack.
So is the theory that maybe if the shoes are stinky, you're less likely to use the shoe rack?
It's basically how to fix the stinky shoe problem.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Even more practical. So
first of all, they wanted to interview people and find out if there was a stinky shoe problem.
Okay.
So
Fair.
A little bit of psychology study. They interviewed about 150 Indian university students, and 90% of them used shoe racks, and over 50% of them reported being embarrassed about either their shoe smells or other people's shoe smells.
Wow,
so there is a stinky shoe problem.
That's less than I thought, honestly.
Well, they're students. They're first year students.
Yeah. All right. That tracks.
So in response to this, the researchers checked on different types of, managing shoe odor deafening techniques. So leaving your shoes out in the sun or washing them or using sprays. But they found that they weren't really as effective as they wanted them to be. So they invented their own, type of shoe rack. And they used UV rays to kill odor emitting bacteria, which are the main culprit of stinkiness. And their experiment for that was to use shoes from university athletes who had really, really stinky shoes. And it worked really well. So the paper says a very strong odor at first was emanating from the shoes, but after 3 minutes with their UV ray shoe rack, it neutralized the odor. So
no kidding. Okay. Well, if it works for university student athletes, it's probably going to work for me. So I'm looking forward to this. We have a shoe
good control.
We actually need a better shoe rack than what we have. We have a place for the shoes to go, but yeah, maybe this is the next shoe rack for us.
Yeah, and this was specifically the closed-in shoe racks where bacteria is known to
more
then
likely.
just proliferate and smell the
What about the
physics
physics prize?
Well, this one I thought was really excellent. So, do you like to cook, Tom?
I do. I don't do it as much as I should, but I do like it.
Have you ever made cacio e pepe sauce?
Yes. But I tell you what, the Trader Joe's frozen one always turns out better than mine.
Is it possible that one you make by hand is maybe clumpy or stringy?
Yeah, it just never gets as smooth as the one I got in Florence.
Well, then you've run into the same problem as the physicist who won this Ig Nobel Prize. So guess what country they were from?
Italy?
These Italian physicists studied the physics of pasta sauce and specifically the phase transition that can lead to clumping in cacio e pepe sauce. Their paper is called The Phase Behavior of Cacio e Pepe Sauce. It's one of the best papers I've read recently. I highly recommend it. They conducted really intense physics experiments to figure out a perfect recipe that feeds enough cacio e pepe for, quote, 2 hungry people, as the paper states. And it also prevents clumps and stringiness, which they called the mozzarella phase of the sauce. But they didn't just do recipe testing like in America's Test Kitchen. It was very rigorous testing if you read this paper. So they checked many factors. They applied predictive models to determine things like protein aggregation, depending on clump size, whether the pepper caused seeded nodules to enhance protein aggregation. They used quantile thresholding and phase diagrams to determine this. And they also investigated alternate stabilizers. So this was pretty deep, actually.
Yeah, no kidding. So what ended up being the trick?
So the secret was that cornstarch, they use cornstarch instead of like the pasta cooking water for the sauce, because that way you can control the ratio of starch. And the ideal ratio is a 2 to 3% starch ratio to cheese weight.
Does that change the taste though?
No. You can use corn or potato starch. Usually what you would use is the like starch that's extracted from the pasta while it cooks. It helps keep this like uniform creaminess.
Okay.
And because they're Italian physicists, I trust that they did take the taste into account. They also were very stringent about using DOP Parmigiano. So like Italian Parmesan is very important to them. So I just thought this one was really excellent.
That is great. I'm definitely reading this one and trying it out. And I will report back with a taste test. Dr. Niki, thank you so much for reporting on one of the greatest events every year, the Ig Nobel Prizes. If folks want to find more of what you do, where should they go?
Well, first of all, they can watch this on YouTube. It's recorded, so you can go find it. And I'll be posting that link and some details from this article on my website, NicoleAckermans.com. And I have the same handle on Blue Sky.
Thanks, Dr. Niki.
I love Dr. Niki so much.
She's the best.
And I have two main takeaways because like, okay, so if I go for a hike, should I be painting myself as a zebra? And also, the shoe people needed to talk to hockey people. They've been selling UV hockey gear storage lockers for years now.
So here we go. Yeah.
But now we have a study. So there you go.
Yeah. Now you've got the science to back it up with your anecdotal information. I figured you'd have a take on the shoe rack for sure. That's interesting. Well, folks, we don't have a shoe rack to sell yet, but we do have all kinds of cool gift ideas over at our store. You can get a mug, you can get a t-shirt, you can get a mouse pad, stuff with the DTNS logo on it. They're great gifts, great way to support the show. If you're like, I can't really justify supporting in any other way, but maybe if I had a mug out of it, I could. dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
The market's uncertain, revenue's tight, and hiring on hold. That's why results-driven companies are using Upwork to keep work moving. Go to Upwork.com today and start hiring proven freelance talent fast. No bulky overhead. No rigid long-term contracts. Just the right expert right when you need them. Work smarter and faster with Upwork. Go to Upwork.com now and find your freelance expert. That's UPWORK.com. Post a job for free and get started today.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, Mike has a very pertinent question related to Penske Media's suit against Google.
Yeah, we were talking about this with Andy yesterday. Mike wrote, longtime fan and patron here. I've been hearing the discussion about Google's AI summarizing articles so people don't have to visit the original source. I'm curious, how is that different from what shows like DTNS do? You read the stories, you share the main points too, though of course you also add your own opinions and perspective, which we really appreciate. Just wondering what you see as the distinction. Thank you, Mike. This is a great question. Copyright law wise, we would have the defense that we are being much more transformative, right? Because we are now doing audio. We are injecting our own opinions and interpretations and phrasing. We're still linking back to the original sources and all of that. So we're on pretty well-worn ground. This is not well-worn ground, what Penske is alleging, which Penske is saying this is not transformative enough. It's still text. It's still text on the internet, just like our text. It's mostly the same text. And they are not making enough of a transformative use of it. Now, it's up to the judge to decide if they are or not, but that's sort of the legal distinction there. Jen, ethically, do you think there's a difference?
I think that all of you wonderful people out there seek us out specifically for the second part of the equation here, for the analysis. So because that is what you are looking for and that is what you're getting, because that is what we aim to provide. I don't see it quite the same as the AI how the AI removes searching for the source entirely. Because I don't even think a lot of people look at the source of the summary that they're getting, whereas we aim to be very careful to credit when people are doing the original work and not just reading press releases.
And I'll give Google credit. They've gotten much better at including those sources themselves, and they tend to be right most of the time. So instead of clicking on something, you're like, that has nothing to do with what you're saying it does. So there's a good argument from Mike here about that. And maybe it is transformative enough, but I don't think they are good at synthesizing as much as humans yet. And to your point, Jen, definitely not good with opinion. In fact, they are instructed not to inject opinion as much as possible. So there are quite a few differences, but a thought-provoking question, and I'm glad you asked it, Mike. That's a good one.
Yes. And you guys are here because you want the context of things, which is why we help each other understand. So what are you thinking about? Do you have some insight into a story? Please share it with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Big thanks to Dr. Niki and to Mike for contributing to today's show. Thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. You keep us in business, folks. If we don't have patrons, we don't have a show. So big thanks to everyone who already is a patron. And if you would like to give a little value back for the value you get, head to patreon.com/DTNS. This week's episodes of Daily Tech News Show were created by the following people. Host, producer, and writer Tom Merritt. Host and writer Jason Howell. Co-host Sarah Lane. Co-host Rob Dunwood. Co-host Jen Cutter. Producer Anthony Lemos. Producer Roger Chang. Editor Hammond Chamberlain. Editor Victor Bognot. Science correspondent Dr. Niki Ackermans. Social media producer and moderator Zoe Detterding. Our mods: Beatmaster, W. Scottus1, BioCow, Captain Kipper, Steve Guadarrama, Paul Reese, Matthew J. Stevens, a.k.a. Gadget Virtuoso, and J.D. Galloway. Mod and video hosting by Dan Christensen. Music provided by Martin Bell and Dan Luters. Art by Len Peralta. Acast ad support from Tatiana Matias. Patreon support from Bobby Wagner. Our guest this week was Andy Beach. And thanks to all our patrons who make the show possible.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
If you're a smoker or vapor ready to make a change, you really only need one good reason. But with Zyn nicotine pouches, you'll discover many good reasons. Zyn is America's #1 nicotine pouch brand. Plus, Zyn offers a robust rewards program. There are lots of options when it comes to nicotine satisfaction, but there's only one Zyn. Check out zyn.com/find to find Zyn at a store near you. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
If you're a custodial supervisor at a local high school, you know that cleanliness is key. And that the best place to get cleaning supplies is from Grainger. Grainger helps you stay fully stocked on the products you trust, from paper towels and disinfectants to floor scrubbers. Plus, you can rely on Grainger for easy reordering, so you never run out of what you need. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.